Up until recently, there was a Total War game that I had still not played that was among the good ones, and it's one of the oldest ones, so I just missed this one. I played Shogun 1 right at the start because I've been there since the beginning, and I played that demo from the demo CD on PC Gamer. I played Rome Total War because it was just such a big game at that point. It's still one of the greatest games of all time, critically acclaimed. Whenever you look at lists of the best games of 2004, Rome Total War is always there. It's one of the best PC games of all time, undisputed, uncontested. No one says it isn't. Its only problem is that it's old like this one. Played Medieval 2 a lot, and that was when I started to like the mods. And I played Shogun 2, of course, and that had a good multiplayer. And that was the first Total War that was good, that had actual proper modern interfacing and all the rest of it. That's a really playable game to this day, Shogun 2. But Medieval Total War is still on the same early engine as Shogun 1. So this is still a really rough game, but it's interesting because this was their first sequel. So they made Shogun 1, and it was an experiment, and it was a success, and they took the good parts and built on it, so we get to see what that looks like. And what I'm going to do with this today is show how its tutorial works, because part of taking forward the good is knowing what good gameplay should look like and how the game should play. So they started to get to grips with their concept, I think, by this point. So I'm going to show you what Total War was supposed to play like after the first game came out and they made a tutorial for the second game. And it's interesting. This is a full tutorial. It's pretty good. And I think we can make some comparisons. So I'm going to start. This tutorial will teach you how to control the camera, how to select units, how to give orders to units, how to change formations. And this follows the same format as Shogun 1's tutorial.
Greetings, my lord. You must learn how to lead your armies if we are to win the coming war. I will teach you.
This lesson will teach you how to control the camera and how to select your troops and issue orders to them. Listen to the general and follow the instructions on screen and you will soon be ready for battle. Use the arrow keys to move the camera and explore the battlefield once the battle commences. Okay. Survey the battlefield using arrow keys before continuing. Camera's shitty, and that's a problem that every Total War game has up until maybe Shogun 2. Rome Total War and Medieval 2 have a shitty camera. Rome Remastered sort of tries to backport the modern camera into Rome Total War, and it mostly succeeds, but it still kind of feels shitty. After Shogun 2 and with games like Three Kingdoms and Troy, yeah, you have a proper interfacing. In terms of the camera at least, of course they have a lot of problems with keybinds and such. And it's quite funny because this game has proper keybinds. Like, I can bind everything as I want pretty much in this. The only thing is the groups. It doesn't have proper group binds. That came in 2004, 2 years after this, with Rome Total War. You can also speed up the camera by holding down the shift key, yeah. This is way better than Shogun 1 in terms of the interfacing already. There's a lot of differences that make it just better immediately. As well as using the camera to survey the battlefield, you can also look at the overview map. Yeah, and you can click around here to point the camera. And you can issue orders to tell your units to go there. I can't issue any movement orders yet. It's a tutorial when I'm locked. Your knights are selected, hence highlighted. Now double left click on the icon to position the camera close to them. And then the camera swings in a nice cinematic kind of way. Also, this is another thing. The camera can go down really low in this game. So already they were trying to bring the camera down. It's not quite like Rome Total War yet, but it's close already. What a difference. I remember when I was a kid and I was playing Shogun 1, I would get frustrated at trying to get the camera to go down as far as possible, and I would try and use hills to do that. So I would put the unit at the top of a hill and then zoom down for it as close as I could get. And you sometimes saw me doing that in my video where I was showing the Kensei and guns I think I did a bit of that. Yeah, so you could kind of cheat a little bit. So we're being introduced to their status, standing, and the morale situation, that system, and fatigue. All of these things will be important in battle. So their stance, their morale, their fatigue, 3 things that are important. Your cavalry are strong attacking units and have benefit of great speed, vulnerable to spears, and don't fight well in forests. So already you're being introduced to terrain. But we'll get onto that later more. Now left click, the base the flag, and it's funny because Shogun 1 had the... You know his voice from Shogun 2, definitely, it's the same guy I think. And he would sort of tell you off if you didn't obey, and it would be kind of mild, but in this game...
That is not it.
He starts off by saying that is not it. I think he does that every time, but then it changes to...
No, try again. Listen, lad, and do as you're told once more.
Listen, lad.
No, that's not what I said, you wet-eared whelp.
Holy shit, I've not heard that one before.
If you can't manage this, you'll be slaughtered in the battle. Pay attention and try again. Have you been out wenching? Focus on the battlefield and issue the commands. On the battlefield, there are no second chances. Try that order again. You must listen to the orders. Try that again before you feel the flat of my sword.
Yeah, no wonder you ended up with all these weird traits like cuckold and servile cur and all that shit in Rome Total War, like horribly inbred, and then Medieval 2 developed all that stuff as well, I think, a bit more.
No, that is wrong. You must do as you are instructed. You are making a fool of yourself in front of your father's men. Try to get it right this time. Listen, lad, and do as... No, that's not... Yes, that is right.
And then we get to see them moving, and the music changes. So you issue your first order, and the tempo immediately changes, just like in Rome Total War. So you can mark some points of change between the first game and Rome Total War with Medieval Total War. And the music keeps going, like the accelerated pace, the drum beats, it continues, double click.
Good.
And it says they tire more rapidly as well when you do this. So there's a bit more emphasis I get in this game for things like fatigue. The gameplay in this is more developed, I think, than Shogun 1. Like, they were getting into the rhythm with this one, I think. Attack orders. And it's telling us to drag a formation. You can drag your unit formation into a line. When you release the mouse button, your men will move into this position. And also you can drag really long lines in this game. See this? See how long this is?
No!
Let's see if I can get a better view of it. I can make this unit 1 man thick, 60 men, I can make it 1 thick.
That's wrong.
I wish I could do that at this point, but it's a tutorial. We'll do it in a minute.
That's right. Remember, your soldiers are like your sword. Keep them firmly in your hand.
And I told them to run with my keybind that I couldn't have in Shogun 1. Really nice, having actual keybinds. You can also change the type of formation, and this is just the same as Shogun 1. So you've got close, loose, wedge, skirmish, hold, engage, and then hold and fire a will. So this affects their movement when they're fighting. So this one I think means that they'll chase units when they rout. This one means they'll stand their ground in melee and won't run back and forwards trying to get favourable duels. And fire will, of course. And then you have the groups as well. And then halt, rally. This is new. I don't think this was in Shogun 1. I would know. So this is like a rally button that's on the units themselves instead of the general, which is kind of weird. So you rally the unit by having the guy in charge of the unit rally it. So it's like every unit has their own general, which fits with the medieval theme, I think. If you hold your mouse over each button, a tooltip will come up showing you what this button does. And I just explained them all, so I don't need that. And there's a menu as well. I remember I was so confused by all this shit when I was a kid and I saw this in Shogun 1. I was like, holy shit, this is great, but I don't know what the fuck any of this means or what it does. Saracen intruders.
That is not it.
Loose formation. So they have archers and we're being told to go into loose formation. Loose formation will spread your men out and make them less vulnerable to arrow fire, however it is not the best formation for hand-to-hand combat. It's funny how modern Total War games have started to really struggle with having things like loose formation. Am I right that Warhammer doesn't have a loose formation? I remember there was no guard mode in Rome 2 and they had to fucking patch that in, and I think they've went back to not having guard mode in games. Like, I think Warhammer 2 doesn't have guard mode, which is just bizarre. Like, there's so much weird stuff going on. They add and remove fundamental things that have been here since the start. Why would you want less control over what your units do? It's ridiculous. So, loose formation reduces susceptibility to arrows, but it's not the best formation for melee. So I need to go over there.
Very good indeed.
And there's a preview. So you press spacebar and you can preview your units where they're going to go, the ghosts. So they get into the right shape first and then they advance towards the destination. And I'm going to run them. And I'm going to just charge and see what happens.
No, my lord.
No,
I understand your impatience, but you must organize your men before launching the attack.
It's funny that it has that there. Move your knights closer to the enemy by left-clicking near the base of the flag.
Good. Your men are following your orders.
So this is a pretty good tutorial. It even has lines recorded for when you deviate. Now charge your men into a wedge formation by clicking on the flashing wedge formation button at the top of the screen. The wedge formation is the most effective formation for charging the enemy and breaking their lines, but it is not as useful for defense.
Now is your first chance to lead your men to victory. Good luck, my lord.
So they form up into a wedge, and I think the way wedge works in this game is that the horses at the front kill a lot of the guys on impact, and then they seem to just blob in. I don't know if there's a penetration at play, because I don't know if there's any mass yet in Total War games. Well, I commented a lot on how wedge works from Rome Total War on to Three Kingdoms, and how it's decayed quite a lot. So, and the reason I do that is that it's been there since the start, and it served important functions, especially in games like Shogun 2 when you use it properly. But it's been relegated to a weird kind of stat buff button thing. So it's not even a real wedge. So let's see how this wedge works. A lot of guys just died in the middle there when we hit that. It seemed like I had a delay on it, but like 10 or 15 guys dropped dead. So I don't know if that's scripted or what, but the way this works is that it seems like the lead guy has a lot of death happen around him.
You have had a taste of war.
And that's
Only
it.
Craven Serf would not now be ready to go on campaign.
Took 3 losses to kill 70 archers. You've learned the basics to controlling a unit. This is enough for the brash to abandon their training and begin Total War. If you desire, there's more to learn. Use the next small battle to practice what you've learned before we move on to controlling a larger army. Control the camera, select units, give orders, change formations. Next one is... I don't know what this one is. I can't remember. Don't know what this one is. We'll see. Oh, yeah, okay. So we have a windmill here, and a wagon, and it actually says windmill and wagon, which is nice. You had these battlefield features in Fall of the Samurai, and you can garrison them. Well, that's the next development. And I think that was in Napoleon as well, that had that. Your knights were dominating battlefield presence, dispatched 3 enemy units. Alright, so we can experiment with the units a little bit here and all the stuff we've got. So everything that we've just been told about and introduced to, we can try and use. So I'm going to start by making a loose formation, and then I'm going to drag a massive line. So that's the widest we can get it in loose. And it's important that you can do these kinds of things, because in Rome Total War, you could, for example, get a unit of cataphracts, make a loose formation column like this, and then charge into urban cohorts and force them to use the mace in the melee, and you would take effectively no casualties to destroy a whole unit of urbans. You would lose like 5 or 10 guys if it went perfectly. And as you can imagine, if that unit of desert archers fires at us, by the time the guys at the back here are within range of the archers, the ones at the front will already be in the melee pretty much. So let's see how this goes. You're charging too early, your impetus will be reduced due to tiredness. So let's see how this goes. Seems like there's a lot of shuffling going on. Or they've pretty much found their shape, and here we go. And there's peasants behind, getting quite close. So let's see how this goes. So you have a lot of control. With just these 3 buttons, these 3 formations, you have a lot of choice, and also in conjunction with dragging a shape. Wedge formation can split enemy formations, making them more vulnerable. We'll use that on the next ones. So we got into the melee and we only lost 1 or 2 horses. Close formation, and then force them in. Let's see how many losses we take. Running away. And they will rally. Alright, charge the peasants. We're killing them already. And we are chasing the archers. So look at how aggressive the AI is in terms of pursuing guys that run away. Peasants run away now as well. We've only lost 8. That's quite a lot. We could do this and only lose like 3 or 4 guys, I think, if we wedged properly and got really decisive charges. Might have to chase down these archers again. And we can fast forward. Yeah. We're losing more horses. So we've lost 10 so far. 11. We don't want to fight them in the forest up there. So they have an actual unit of spearmen this time. And if we wedge them properly, we can only lose like 2 or 3 guys, I think. If we get above them, I'm quite tired now. What was it saying there about a symbol? Alright, let's get on the hill. Continually running your men will tire them. Quite tired. I'm gonna wedge. And I think they'll just wait in the field, so I'm gonna fast forward. Regain my stamina. Quite fresh. That was fast. But I was fast forwarding, and the fast forward on this game is really good. And in Shogun 1. It's like 5 or 10 times speed. It's really good. So I'm just clicking to attack. Let's see if they automatically charge when they get close enough. 67 horses remain. Worried by so many casualties. Yep, see that? They're charging. I had 67, remember? Still got 67. Oh, here, horses dying. 1 died there. 66. And that's spearmen. So we have chivalric knights charging spears, but they were facing a weird direction. We've lost 5. Maybe you could try and use hold formation and hold position and then wedge charge and see if you could get repeated wedge charges. We've lost 6. Let's fast forward. They're still fighting, they've lasted ages. Congratulations, you have a good grasp of controlling a small force now. The next pair of tutorial and practice battles will show you proper tactics, as different units are strongest when they support each other. So it's already talking about unit synergies, that's good. How to group units, how to give orders to groups, how to use archers, how to change combat states, the advantage of height. This is the big one, and this is something that I've been going on about quite a lot, because this is one of the most important aspects of tactics in these kinds of games, especially Total War. Every single RTT, RTS involves height to one extent or another. And a game like Total War, it has to rely on it. And a game like Medieval 2 and Shogun 2, those were games where the best players that stomp in the AI were the ones that just used height all the fucking time. So this was something that was there with Shogun 1, and there was a tutorial that put it in your face but didn't really insist on it over and over again. So let's see how insistent this game is on the advantage of height. Because of course this has been gutted out of Total Wars recently.
Our army has crossed into Bulgaria, where we will defeat the decadent Byzantines and their mercenary lapdogs.
In this lesson you'll learn how to organise your army into groups of units, the advantage of height in battle, and how to use your archers. Great. You have 2 archers. Bar shows how much ammo they've got. Same as Shogun 1. Select the first unit, then select the other one, and then group.
Yes, that is right.
You can select the whole group by clicking that bar, so you don't yet have keybinds for unit groups. You have to click these bars, which is something that's stuck with a lot of players. Like, a lot of players to this day don't use the classic video game 1 to 0 for selecting. They click on the interface, or they ignore down here and just click on here, which is strange. But this might explain it somewhat, because these early Total War games didn't yet have that system in place, and even Rome Total War can have awkward binds for groups to select, and well, if you try and rebind, it can just be confusing. So a lot of left-handed players are going to struggle with that no matter what, pretty much. Control them with one click. Can select all of the same type by holding down control and double clicking, which is something that I do, but that's something that a lot of people don't do. You see them clicking one and then holding down shift and then clicking the end. Don't have to do that, you just double click, control double click. Come on. Look. Come on, I've just always known this, it's just instinctive. Select and group the archers, done. Alright, having a height advantage over your enemy is very important in battle. Very important. You really wouldn't think it from any of the modern Total War games, but it tells you here. Very important. Yeah, it says it all really. So this is the second Total War game. The first attempt at refining the Total War formula, and in the tutorial, as soon as you start getting taught about tactics, they just tell you straight, having a height advantage over your enemy is very important. Height, and then they elaborate on it, height gives your troops a longer line of sight, and it gives your archers greater range. Well, I wouldn't really change anything of my flaccidification video, but goddamn, what a screenshot this would have made. Like, I could probably have this as a screenshot of this video, and it would be pretty great. Alright, let's see what it says. Gives your archers greater range. Also, troops will become tired if they march uphill. Oh man, you really felt this in Rome Total War, Medieval 2 and Shogun 2, and it was so important for how those games played. And units will fight better if they are fighting downhill. They will fight better if they are fighting downhill. It's in the tutorial. It's so essential to being effective in these games. See, if you're someone that's just not good at games and can't ever manage to do well in these games, you really have to pay attention to this fucking frame right here, what you have on your screen. This is everything pretty much. Whenever a good player pulls something off, achieves a coup, has something that's tactically good and gets them ahead, it's gonna rely on this every fucking time. At least in the games I've played, and I'm willing to advocate for. And this is why I would just get so disgusted with Three Kingdoms, because height just didn't really make a difference. It wasn't substantial enough. Not when you're playing on Legendary, you still get fucking destroyed. So this is the main thing that you have at your disposal. And if it isn't enough to overcome difficulty modifiers or fucked up balancing, the game is just unplayable. I mean, it's as simple as that. You're then falling back to doing tedious, boring, tactically bankrupt shite, like cheesing shitty AI, because you have to, it's out of necessity. Fuck that. Fuck games that do that. This is what it's all about. There's so much ambiguity about what's a good Total War game, what's a bad Total War game. It's fucking obvious to me. I don't understand why this has to be speculated on so much by so many people after such a long time, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Hold down the left mouse button and drag the cursor left to right between the two flags. You'll see that you can reshape the formation of a group by clicking and dragging in the same way that you can change the formation of an individual unit. Yep, so we all know this. You make groups, you drag, and then they drag together.
Well done.
But this was quite groundbreaking back then. And I'm going to run them. And it's really important for setting the mood when you start issuing orders and the fucking tempo just changes, and that the soundtrack is actually good when it does it. You're being encouraged to play the game.
No, try again.
And the soundtrack for this game is actually quite different from Medieval 2, whereas I would say the Shogun 1 soundtrack, at least to me, it seems to be really similar. It's almost the same. You can also organise groups and formations by clicking on the group formation button at the top right of the screen. This is very useful for organising your army. Yeah, this is double line.
Splendid. Remember these orders when you enter the fray.
And this is another thing. The formation of a unit of archers does actually affect its ability to shoot. See, if you have a unit of archers that is, for example, if it was back... Oh, I can't do it yet. But if I was to have this unit of archers over here, and shooting at a unit over here...
that is wrong. You must do as you pay attention and try again.
So if it was over here, shooting across to a unit over there, the archers at the back of the unit would not be able to shoot properly. Their shots would actually intersect, the trajectory would intersect with the men in front of them, so they decide against shooting. And sometimes they actually do shoot and kill the guys in front of them. At least in Shogun 1 they did. I don't know if it works like that in this. So in this game, the formation actually affected the ability of archers to shoot. So if you have a deep formation or a thin formation, that affected your ability to shoot with archers in these early Total War games. But, and this is the absolutely ridiculous thing that should just be harped on about forever, in modern Total War games with guns, the formation doesn't affect the ability to shoot. And this is something that I saw joked about on my subreddit recently. Someone said, people still will believe 5 years from now that the width of your formation of guns in Warhammer will affect the ability of your guns to shoot, the volume of fire they can bring to bear upon the target. It's such an assumption that's just born of intuition, pure intuition, and yet it's completely false. And all you have to do is think for a second about how the guns in the game work, and it's just obvious to you. And before you know it, you're making columns of guns, and you're watching the guys at the back of the column fire through all the guys in front, and it just falls apart for you. The illusion is just completely shattered. Whereas in this game, it's the absolute opposite, because even archers need line of sight to fucking fire, because guess what? They are shooting projectiles, so of course they do.
Well done. The discipline of your troops is impressive.
Shoots poorly in bad weather. Look, archers shoot poorly in bad weather. This is really punishing So if there's rain, archers' bowstrings get wet and they can't shoot. Of course, that was a factor with longbows. I remember longbows couldn't shoot well in rain. Crossbows had problems, so they would want to keep their bowstrings dry. They would fit their bow staves with strings at the last minute, and then of course powder gets wet, and then the guns just can't shoot. And you saw that in Shogun 1 with arquebus and musketeers. Musketeers could fire in the rain because I think they had packets, they had sachets, but arquebus are more finicky. Like they have an open, what do you call it? The way the pan worked was different or something. Or maybe it was just the way the game rewarded you for getting musketeers and punished people for having old arquebus. I don't know. But I just think it's interesting that even archers suffer in the rain in this game, and that's another thing that has just been gutted out of modern Total War games that just systemically isn't there anymore. Weather. Like, when do you see snow or rain or storms? And like, just take the example of the ASMR video. You have thunderstorms and rain at night. You have a combination of time of day and weather, all this stuff. It's just, you don't see that anymore, and it affects the way the battle goes. It affects the fight. And already I can see there, shoots poorly in bad weather. So they were developing, I think, how weather affected ranged units and how they fought. So if you had a melee heavy army, you would just try and fight in the worst weather possible and just swarm all the skirmishers. It's fascinating. You could actually use it. You can match the weather to your army composition and choose your fights better. Amazing stuff. You also have a unit of spearmen. Spearmen are generally vulnerable to fire from archers, but are good at defending against cavalry and can hold their own against other infantry. Also, this is another thing. There's a weird system that this game has where spearmen and pikes fight better in deep formations, and you can actually see the guys at the back thrusting their spears, their pikes. See, that fights best 3 or more ranks deep. So in 3 or more ranks, the guys at the back will be thrusting along with the guys in front of them, which is really funny. It's a weird system. I don't know if it actually works well.
Well done, lad. You're learning fast.
Because obviously Rome Total War had that as well. Like, pikes worked like pikes. You had a lot of ranks of pikes. And Yariwal and Shogun 2 had that too. And that's another thing that's just kind of disappeared. Because, of course, in Warhammer, pikes are not pikes, halberdiers are not actually using halberds. It's not simulated at all. There's no systems in place that differentiate them from just a regular spear holder guy or regular melee unit. Like, they swing around their polearms and halberds and poleaxes as if they have hatchets or short swords. You can see it all the time in the way the animations work in those games. It's ridiculous. And Three Kingdoms somewhat tries to differentiate them with formations, but the numbers, plus 25% to melee evasion, plus 58% to armor, whatever the fuck, it just kind of gives it away how they're actually simulating these kinds of units, these types of combatants on these battlefields. It's just not right. Defensive position, yep, so it's telling us to use hold position. So we have spears that are 4 ranks deep, hold formation, and it's telling us to have archer skirmishing. They'll move backwards when threatened, very useful for keeping them out of hand-to-hand combat. And it's telling us to start combat now. And the music starts. And it uses the same sound effects as Shogun 1, which is good. You can hear the arrows ripping through there as well. Look at this distance that I can shoot. Look at this. It's making it so obvious that you get a range advantage. It's making it so fucking obvious.
Each type of unit has its strengths and weaknesses, but it is through mastering how to combine them that you will crush the enemy.
See, it's telling you it's basic tactics. Combine units, use them in different ways, use them together. Imagine if modern Total War games had tutorials, and we'll get to that. This was 2002, so this was like the still part of the golden era of RTS games and PC gaming. We're barely firing over the heads. Alright, fire at the ones at the back now. We're gonna just hold our ground. So they're moving slower because they're going uphill and they're getting tired from doing it. See, look, see how there's some guys that are not even trying to shoot because they can't. They don't have a trajectory. And if you stagger your bows and make them thin, it gives them distance so they can get a trajectory, an arc, a ballistic trajectory that doesn't kill their own guys. I might have to start flanking now. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if we can flank. And go over here. We've only lost 2 guys so far. I should have looked for the thrusting. Let's see if we can get any animations of guys thrusting through guys in front of them. I think that might be it there. See that? See when they line up, they stack up in lines. And then I'm going to charge into the melee. Nah, I'm going to get a hard angle. And then likewise over here, I'm going to get a hard angle. Only lost 20 guys, or we've started taking casualties then. Byzantine infantry. Alright, let's fire into the infantry. See if we can get any kills. Reloading. Yeah, they've been routed. Running away.
Humility is the knight's greatest virtue, but it will please me to report this day of triumph to your father.
Getting friendly fire kills now. But that's it. Some more advanced combat. This one should be good. And there's the kill death ratio. So we got a KD of about 3, I think. Yep. The advantage of height. So we destroyed them, and it was entirely down to the height, pretty much. Almost entirely. It gave us extra range. It gave us an advantage in the melee. It was everything. Now that you have a grasp of command and have had some basic tactics explained, you have the opportunity to defeat an enemy using straightforward armor organisation and some tactics. Choose wisely where to fight. Make your enemy fight uphill by occupying the available high ground wherever possible. Make sure that some of your units are grouped together so that they can be used as a hammer. Oh man, look at this. A hammer. So this is... Does it say anvil anywhere? Nah. So it uses the hammer of the hammer and anvil to attack the enemy and break them. Next, make sure your archers have a good field of fire so that they can fire at and weaken the enemy. Finally, remember that formations make a difference to the way units fight. Fucking hell. Wow. A wedge is perfect for a charge, while a loose formation is much better when being peppered with arrows. Issue orders so that your units change formation as required. So it seems like we have everything in terms of how we would play. Your army has closed in on advantageous terrain for the inevitable clash. Use the skills learnt to combine terrain and troop mix to smash the Byzantine defenders. Alright. So it seems like we just have a straightforward fight here. Don't know where they are. I'm gonna wait. Alright, now they showed up. So we have to take the high ground. We have to run away and take the high ground. So this is just to test and see if we've actually learned what we were shown. So I have to just run away and take the high ground. Gonna do the double line, because that means we can do big, long lines and stand. And I'm gonna space out my spears like that. Hold formation on everything. Let's see if we can just hold really favourable terrain. Cataphracts. So we don't have any cavalry, but they do. Spearmen on the hill. I think I'm taking one of the steepest parts of the map at the moment. They're out of our range, but as we climb the hill, they'll get in range. Fast forwarding. From an elevated position, your archers can fire further. Yep, so this is really an emphasis of the tactics. You're not going to succeed in a battle like this unless you can actually successfully use what you've been taught. You're not going to just go through the tutorial, pick up nothing, and still get on to the next part of the tutorial. You have to win this fight, and you can only win it if you use everything that's been taught. If you're smart. I accidentally moved that unit. Fuck. Something else I should take the time to point out is that in this game, if you make a group that's multiple unit types and drag place them, the skirmishers are always in front, the archers are always at the front of the formation, unlike in Three Kingdoms and Warhammer. Just shows. 76. Look at these plunging shots. Look at how aggressively they arc, and we've got another unit of spears. So they are stronger than us. We could only win this if we manage to make our archers fight well, because they've matched us in terms of spears. They match us, but they have cataphracts. And they might have even more than this, I can't remember. But if we're going to win this, it's by using archers well. So let's see. I'm going to hold fire now. Actually. Yeah, fire it well off and hold fire. There we go. So I'm going to get into melee. They might be tired. They're not in loose formation. I think I'd rather have to fight the cavalry than fight the spears. Let's see how much the height difference matters. 80 against 78. Yeah, we're getting some kills. I've got to fire. And then I'm going to fire at the other unit spears. They're actually trying to get around me and coming after me. Fuck's sake. .72. I'm gonna run up the hill, god damn it. They're getting above me. I'm gonna have to run away. Shit. Skirmish. Spearmen are effective against mounted units. Yeah, I'm running away. The archers are skirmishing. Gonna have to just get above them even more. I don't think I can. I think I'm at the edge of the map. Yep, so this unit's gonna stay there and fight well. Spears are above me, but I can fire into them while they're engaged. I could turn around my spears there, but they're gonna have a bad fight. And I've got this unit of spears catching a unit of spears and cataphracts. So they'll do well enough in the melee. And I can turn around with my archers and make sure that my spears here win. And I can even charge them into the melee if I have to. Running away? Oh, okay, so I'm going to just catch them in the melee. And then I'll send them into the fight here. Take off, hold position. Routing at 56. Steady, steady, steady. Everything's steady. Yeah. So, we did well enough, I think. If that's all that they had, then yeah. So retreated to higher ground than I was meant to fight on. You're meant to fight where you start the fight pretty much. That's meant to be where it happens. Oh, they've rallied. Yeah, firing at them. Front ranks of archers have greater accuracy. Archers are more effective in lines of 2 or 3. Look at that shit. So it's incentivizing you to spread them out into long lines. So that's how you want to deploy archers, to take up area, so they can actually see what they're shooting at. That's how it simulates line of sight of archers. Look at that. They need to actually see what they're shooting at. It's fascinating shit. So now I've got archers firing into the back from above, stretched out fully, still got loads of ammo. 55. No kills. Keep running away. Keep skirmishing, run away. Cavalry's still fighting me. Engage at will, hold position, nope. Yeah, they're running away. Killed 6 with a good volley there. I've got to chase them now, shit. But yeah, it was worth it. Just to see that tooltip thing that came up that said archers are more accurate when they spread out. Look at that. I don't think that's been repeated since. That's something that you should retain. It incentivizes archers to spread out and take up ground and be vulnerable to charges. It's such a vulnerable formation, but it's offensive. It just shows how important formations and disposition is. Alright, I'm going to fast forward this. Yeah, it makes it all the more disgusting and repulsive when you see guns in games like Warhammer just standing in fucking blocks and not being punished for it whatsoever, actually being rewarded for doing it. Alright, come on, let's just get this over with. God damn. Gonna just turn around and catch them. Yeah. Oh, they rallied again. They've rallied multiple times. Yeah. Good, your units were organised and crushed the enemy because of it. Now you should learn some tactical finesse. You saying that wasn't finessed? This tutorial will teach you the importance of morale. Wow, so we haven't even gone into morale yet. How to hide units and set ambushes, how to use cover, how to use waypoints. Waypoints. Cover. Wow, so we've seen how to make archers more offensive. Stretch them out into long lines. So cover. It's going to tell us to put them in trees too, so they also have a defensive advantage. So archers stretched out into long lines in trees will be able to skirmish from a position of extreme strength and formidability. Fascinating stuff. Look at all this stuff that you can do to affect fights. Setting ambushes too, that's really tactical. Waypoints. I don't know how waypoints panned out long term in terms of importance.
Our war with Byzantium is not yet over. We cannot progress until you achieve victory.
In this tutorial you will learn some more advanced combat tactics, including the importance of morale, how to set ambushes and use cover, how to give waypoint orders, and the effects of flank and rear attacks. Well, they did say hammer not long ago, so we're finally getting to hammer and anvil, which I've already sort of done a little bit of so far. Fundamental basic stuff. Alright, let's go. Understanding morale can be critical to your victory. Yeah, we saw that there, like they routed really early on in that fight. With Shogun 1, the morale system was kinda strange and unreliable and finicky, but in this one it seems like you can definitely achieve some serious morale swings. Like we had a unit of spears routing at 56 men, I remember seeing 56. That's a lot, that's most of a unit. That's like 2/3 or 3/4 of the unit. Because I've always thought that units in Shogun 1 are kinda just similar to the units in modern Total War, where, at least on higher difficulties, where they're just like blobs that never rout. But in this game, it seems like they're more temperamental, like you have to protect them, keep them safe, respect their morale, and not expose them to morale shocks. So I like that about this. This is definitely involving morale a lot more, this game. By keeping the morale of your own troops steady, you can ensure that they will stand and fight. One of the most effective ways of lowering the enemy's morale is to launch an ambush. Oh, you have 2 units of spearmen, each of whom are positioned near a forest on either side of the enemy. So it's already got an ambush set up for us in the tutorial, so we get to see how this goes. This unit of spearmen has the tree symbol shown on their icon. Typo. Yeah, I see it. Pixelated as fuck, but I see it. This is for the old CRT monitors. They are hidden from the eyes of the enemy, ready to ambush. Our other unit of spearmen is waiting across the valley. We'll move them into hiding also. Click on them and put them on the flag in the trees so they can ambush. Alright, let's do it. The hell, come on, let me. Fuck.
No!
Come on.
That's wrong.
God damn, the tree there was blocking me.
This is no time for foolishness. The fate of the kingdom is at stake. Do it again!
I wonder if it's stopping me from drag placing, or if I have to just actually click or what. Let's see if this works.
No, that is wrong.
Yeah,
You must do as you are instructed.
I have to just click.
That's it.
Weird, but okay. Because what I told it to do was exactly the same as that. Fuck you, game. At least I can tell them to run by pressing the sprint key. They're getting there. Oh, houses. The tree symbol now appears on the unit icon, indicating that they are concealed and ready to ambush the enemy when they approach up the valley. Trees also provide cover from missile fire. Cavalry fighting amongst them fight less effectively. Yep, pull cavalry into trees, get them impaled on spears, have archers fire out of trees in long lines. Your knights are your general's unit, indicated by the star on their icon and the horizontal flag they carry. Horizontal flag. Oh yeah, because these are all vertical flags, but this one is horizontal. It's more like an actual flag, you know, like a saltire or Union Jack or whatever this one is. English pish. Your general's unit cannot hide, but we will use them to outflank. Yeah, that's something that Total War games kept for a long time. Not letting the general's unit hide, which was bullshit. But in, I think, Three Kingdoms, when I came back to Total War in 2019, for the first time ever, general units could hide, and I was like, yay. I think even Rome 2 might have fucked that up, but Rome 2, to its credit, one of its few credits that I can give it, did actually introduce a proper line of sight system where, for example, if this unit was down here, the units over here wouldn't be able to see it because line of sight was occluded by the terrain. It's a shame the rest of the game was crap and that didn't matter at all. Attacks to the enemy flank or rear are more effective than frontal assaults. Waypoints can be used to give complex movement orders which can allow you to move your troops around behind the enemy. So it's already telling you to play this like chess and anticipate opportunities to get rear charges off. So we're meant to do boom, 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 charge, for example, to get into the back of these, which is really good, because if you have a lot of units, you can just fire and forget, and then command the rest of your army manually to support the pincers that you've just set up for the hammer and anvils. Really good shit, really tactical. Not the kind of thing that you really do much of when you're playing modern Total War games, because you're not really incentivized to achieve hammer and anvils or to get chain routes or stack morale malices. There's not really an emphasis on that anymore. Especially in a game like Rome 2, as my recent video showed full well. My god, just absolutely ridiculous that the game works that way. But this one, very promising. It really lives up to the whole medieval cavalry or just fucking tanks of the ancient battlefield meme. You know, medieval 2 players often propound that and say that spears are just useless. So this was like the progenitor of that. In Shogun 1, it was more of a rock, paper, scissors and a chessboard, the way the game played. But in this one, definitely seems like cavalry are strong. Like, you saw how when I wedged and charged into the front of spears, more or less the front, they got wrecked. So, yeah, it's a bit of a different way the game's balanced and plays. But it's still really tactical. Cavalry just dominate in this game, I think. That's the only thing. Let's see how this goes then. To set the first waypoint, hold down the shift key and left click on the ground by the flag. Set the second one. And tell them to run. Can't. Fuck. Clear waypoints by just issuing another order.
Good.
Alright. Clear all your waypoints and given a new order. They'll now march the flag. Enemy will advance to your peasants and archers, leave them in position so they'll draw the enemy into the ambush. Yep, low value units as bait. As enemy moves through the valley, order your spearmen to attack from the woods and charge your knights into their rear. So these units are meant to just not participate, they're just bait. Meanwhile, spears are meant to hit them from the sides. That's 4 units though. Oh wow, I forgot. Yep, 4 units is quite a lot, so maybe we are meant to employ everything that we have. So let's space these all out. Get ready to deploy properly. I can't. Fuck. If units on the verge of routing, a white flag will flash. If they start routing, they'll run away. And the white flag will be there without flashing. Once a unit starts routing, you can try to regain by clicking rally. Grade out if they can't.
Spring the trap, and we will prevail.
Alright, we're getting our shot. So I'm going to let them get to about here. And then I'm going to just charge. I'm going to catch the cavalry with the spears and then charge the knights into the back. Meanwhile, going to spread these out. Space them out. Going to have the peasants behind. Peasants have a strong charge in this game, which is interesting. It's like they have giant pitchforks and they just lower them and run. And that's what it simulates. It's funny. Let's see if we can morale shock them then. Alright, we're going. Yeah, we'll get there quickly. Getting a wedge. We're catching them. Worried by enemy numbers. They're getting through pretty much. What the fuck? Fire at will. They're running away. Let's get ready for the next charge then. 60. Hold formation. Fuck that. Engage. What the fuck? I need to catch the cavalry. Yeah, I've got to just use my fucking cavalry to catch all this. It's not what I would want to do, but yeah. So I'm gonna just pin them with peasants, rear charge them with the cavalry. They're still running away, and they've rallied. 60 against 57, down to 52. Yeah, so we made one unit rout. This one routed really early and then it rallied, and it's got just under half strength. So I don't know, maybe there is a morale shock when you surprise units. That was always a really good feature, especially in Barbarian Invasion. Like that was a really good morale malice. Surprised, I think it was called. Shogun 2 has it as well, and you can definitely see it in action. It's good. So if this game allows you to surprise and morale shock, then on top of all the other morale malices, this could have been some of the first proper ambushes and chain routes that you could do into a war, which is quite nice. Lost a lot of our knights there. Battle is yours. The enemy are advancing, the battle is yours. That's a weird phrasing. Enemy are retreating, it should say. Enemy are retreating. Yeah, that's definitely a mistake. Alright, on to the next one. No? Are we not? Oh my god. Come on, give me a break here.
Your men respectfully demand you lead them on to greater glory.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see how many kills we're getting in these volleys though. Yeah, quite a lot. Congratulations, you've now experienced many of the most important aspects of combat. The next battle will challenge you to apply what you've learnt. Once you've won, you will learn how to fight a siege and conquer a castle. So you've learned morale, hiding units and ambushes, using cover, and waypoints. The waypoints were useless in that one pretty much, didn't really get a chance to use it, maybe in the next one. And using cover was not really... well, cover... no, that was a different bullet point from ambushes. Now that you have an understanding of command, organisation and basic tactics, it's time to practice some of the finer points of being a medieval total war general. It's often a good idea to keep the enemy from knowing your plans until it's too late for them to do anything much to save themselves. This spat will let you hide units from the enemy for as long as possible by placing them in cover and using the terrain to mask their actions from enemy eyes. A unit in a forest, for example, can wait until the enemy is very close before ambushing them. You'll also have a chance to move units by giving them waypoints. Waypoints let you control marching units so that they stay out of trouble until it's the right time to commit them to a fight. It can also be a very effective method to send a unit around a flank to attack from behind. It may not seem very fair, but this is war. Yeah, so this is an actual putting the practice into action now. So let's see, hopefully we can actually do all that shit. More experienced force. Use your ever-increasing mastery of the art of warfare to crush the enemy. Art of war. Come on, why would you change it? Just say art of war. We have a big hill up here. Have trees over there. Have a hill with trees there. Maybe we should fight down here and use the hills on either side. So, archers up here. Yeah, okay, I'm thinking. Peasants as bait. We also have a shack that we can use to bullshit the AI. Holding down the spacebar shows destinations. Chivalric knights at the back. Spears in the trees here. Archers on the hill here. Actually, I'm going to use the cavalry to guard archers. This unit of archers can go here as well. Yeah, right. Just gonna have 2 units of archers on this hill. Yeah, right. Spears here too. And cavalry. Nah. Shit, I want to do this. Gonna have spears here. There we go. So that's the plan. And they're coming from down there. Gonna hopefully go towards my peasants. Shitty peasants sitting beside the shack. Archers on the hill. Spears on either side. I don't think they have archers, do they? Yeah, they do, they have archers. Units who are near to their general receive a morale bonus. Yeah, that might be the first time that was done. I don't remember if that was in Shogun 1. Can't remember. They might be coming up here. Yeah, right, so I'm gonna have my general move down a bit. Yep, so we have a bit of an ambush set up. I think I can fire into anything that happens over here from this hill. Can use the high ground and the surprise over there. I would want them to go down here though. Let's see if I can tempt them over here. Gonna move down a bit. I think they might be. Wait, what the fuck? We're meant to be hidden. Ah, they've seen us. We're spotted. Shit. Well, let's form up. Nah, I've got to run away. Fuck this. Run away then. Fire at will is on. I'm gonna just take this hill and fight from it. So the ambush didn't work, they spotted us because the range. Fire. It almost seems like they don't fire unless they're inside the standard range, but you can manually fire to force it. Killing the enemy general lowers the morale. Well, that's the general, so it's giving us a general snipe. We have multiple archers at the back. Yeah, got to introduce the spears, fuck it. And I'm gonna send the cavalry up to the top. Peasants are useless over there. Gonna loose formation the peasants and make them useful by charging the archers. And then I'm gonna send the spears into these cataphracts. Peasants are gonna get wrecked, I think. Yeah, they are. I wonder if I'll kill any of my own horses doing this. Looks like I've got to use my general to kill the archers then. So I'm going to lose formation and just send them straight for it. And now we're charging already. Yep, we're committed then, fuck it. I'm not going to fire archers at archers, that seems kind of silly. Got to though, no other targets. Had a good fight so far, except for the peasants getting fucking stuck and being useless. Gotta run them out. And then we can maybe get around. 15 cataphracts running away. And now I can do it. Gonna send these other archers up the hill. But I think we've done it by this point, yeah we have. Congratulations, you've gained a strong understanding of more advanced tactics and should take these with you on campaign and crush your enemies. But we have a siege thing still, and the archers have just ran away because the general's dead, I think. Yeah, that could happen in Shogun 1, you would see full units running away, especially of archers, but it was rare. I think usually it would be caused by nearby units running away, but I don't really see any up there. Oh wait, yeah. That might have been it. Also, they rallied and they were about to fire at me from the trees, so that would have sucked. I would have had to send my horses up into the trees and loose. Congratulations, your tactical mastery shows real promise. Carry on and your enemies will fall before you. Oh shit, I clicked it twice. But yeah, it said deploy artillery,
We have
something
reached
else.
the walls of Antioch. If we conquer the castle, then great wealth and glory await us.
This is another way this is interesting. You already had actual sieges in fucking medieval Total War in 2002. Like, see all these Warhammer fanboys that are fucking happy at getting sieges, finally, presumably. Sieges in fucking air quotes. You already had goddamn fucking fully 3D sieges in this game in 2002. Look at this. Castle walls, arrow towers. You even had a soundtrack that went along with it. Look at this shit. This lesson will teach you how to use your artillery to destroy enemy fortifications and how to conquer a castle. So this was the first time you had this. In Shogun 1, all you had was a crappy palisade square type thing. So it was just not like this at all. 2 catapults can be fired at walls and defences. Catapults have already been deployed, so they cannot move. Placing artillery during deployment is important to be in range and have no hills or buildings obscuring a clear shot to the castle. Yep, so terrain was important for this. You can check the range of your catapults in the same way that you can check range for archers by just mouse over it and seeing if it's green or red. Yep, so that's all it is. Green or red. Catapults can target any point within range, including castle towers and walls. Hold down control and select your second catapult. Destroy the wall.
Good.
Right. 13%, for fuck's sake. And it has a reloading progress. Is there any reloading animation, or is it like Warhammer guns? No reload animation, but there is a fire animation. So having guys cranking ballistas and putting rocks in onagers as I Rome Total War first. See how groundbreaking Rome Total War was? It did so much. This isn't even proper 3D. This is like an isometric 2.5D sprite thing. Like, see when you move the camera, I don't think it actually renders it differently. Like there's a few different models for facing. Are all of the men in a unit simulated the same? No, they're not. Yeah, so this guy, for example, is facing over there, whereas these guys are facing more forwards, and you can see it because they look different. Yeah, it's not like Rome Total War where it was properly modelled 3D and all that. It's like you still have sprites, but definitely way better than Shogun 1, I think. Especially with the camera, look how close you can get and you can actually see them properly. It's almost like Rome Total War in that regard. 69% and the wall gets progressively damaged as well. But the hitbox of the wall doesn't seem to change really, because we just hit a tiny bit down there. Are we going to just hit that again? High angle of fire, it says. Short range artillery. Yeah, we hit the same spot every time. Alright. Group and group. Can't move yet. Alright. Come on, fire.
That is not it.
Don't cease bombardment till it's destroyed. Fire them.
That's it.
That's it. Now we can go, I think. Catapults will only fire while crew's present. If the crew move away or they're killed, they'll stop firing. We must now wait until our catapults have breached the castle wall.
Our catapults have breached the walls. Now is the time to attack.
Gonna take out the walls first.
Onwards to victory or death.
Alright, destroy that tower too. Now we can move in. Let's see if we can destroy that wall. Destroy 2 sections of wall. Nah, not quite enough ammo. 2 more shots. Alright, we've got to move in then. Fuck it. But at least we made this wall lower down so we have a shot. I think that's how this works. Do we have line of sight? Can we fire directly? No. It'd be funny if we could. Maybe I should just always stretch them out into long lines. Maybe you should just always do that. For the accuracy bonus. If that's how it works. We are getting fired at from desert archers. Fuck you. Gonna save the chivalric knights. Oh man, they are elite infantry and I don't want them to be dying to this bullshit. Fuck. Fire it well, fire it well. Let's see. Looks like we are in fact getting line of sight there. More or less. Yep, we're getting good hits on them. That's spearmen, so I can now introduce the chivalric knights. Elite infantry. Do a lot of damage, hold fire. Gonna try and make an angle for the foot knights. Gonna run away in that direction. They're still fighting. And also they fight to the last man. Alright, we're going for it now, charge time. Bonus feat armoured troops. Gonna fire with archers into these. Too far away over there. Yeah, right. Moving in closer. I think we are getting some kills. Chivalric Foot Knights lost like 10 guys to the archers, but they've not really lost any in the melee. Just goes to show how punishing this game was. You could fell Foot Knights with no shields using archers relatively easily, and then in the melee they would just destroy everything. I'm suffering in this melee over here. Yeah, to win this fight you really have to keep these Foot Knights alive. 45 Chivalric Foot Knights, 45 out of 60. And they've destroyed these spears. Let's fast forward. Fighting to the last man.
That was a great victory, my lord. The time has come to enjoy the spoils of war and prepare for the greater challenges ahead.
Well done, you've mastered much of the arts of warfare. The final battle will hone your siege and conquer skills. Siege and conquest skills. Alright, so now we get to see what the objectives were. Deploying artillery, using artillery to destroy enemy defences, how to attack and conquer a castle, how to review your progress during a battle. What? Where? Our next one. Now ready for your last lesson in medieval warfare. Using artillery to break castle defences. Remember that artillery includes stone and missile firing weapons, as well as cannon, but the command skills needed are much the same for all these weapons. What? Alright, so the interfacing is just the same. It's telling you not to be intimidated, because this was back in 2002. You are permitted to command these trebuchets and onagers and culverins. Of course you're worthy of them. Firstly, remember you have to position artillery quite carefully. You can't move it once the battle starts. An enemy and enemies is not proofread. Might just overrun a carelessly placed artillery piece. The purpose of artillery is to batter enemy defences until they collapse, so you might find it a good idea to concentrate in turn on small parts of a castle. Once a breach has been made, you'll need to decide when it is wide enough to send in your other troops to carry the fight to the defenders. Finally, you'll need to practice monitoring your progress in the battle. There's plenty of fighting to watch during the battle, but there's other information on the screen that can also help you win. Yep, this is the last one. A siege. And I need to start firing immediately with all this, I think. Because the fucking walls shoot out arrows. Yeah. So I'm going to fire at the most distant targets that we can. And then over here, going to fire at the gate. Oh yeah, see that? See, we're taking losses. Look at that shit. So I'm going to loose formation and run forwards. Now I'm going to loose formation, stretch out really wide. Archers can take the aggro for this. It's weird how you have arrows that just come at you out the walls, somehow. This fucking tower... Look at that, we're taking losses. Look at that shit, we're fucking getting killed. Fire all this bullshit. And then I'm going to use the archers to fire at the gate. Let's see if this works. Yeah, so we have fire arrows that we can use on this stuff. I'm gonna use melee on this though. Let's see if I can just push the gate until it goes away. Oh, look at all my casualties I'm taking to. The fucking tutorial was annoying. I think that's just the wall as well that's doing all this damage to me. 38%, 39, 40. See, there's arrows just coming out the stockades. There's no guys behind it, it's just doing that to me anyway. Chivalric knights have to not die. Yep, there's really an urgency on you. You're at such a disadvantage as the attacker. You want the fight to be over quickly. You're just constantly being attrition by the fucking defences no matter what you do. Even if you take out these towers, you still get fucked. Peasants. Yeah, there's a lot of peasants here. So I'm gonna just get inside. And then I'm gonna get into melee with all these. Oh my god, look at that. One of my trebuchets have been demanned already. Look at this crap. They're just getting killed by the fucking walls. That is bullshit. And I have to just keep firing at these towers now. Archers have to... what do they have? They have a lot of desert archers. There's a gatehouse. Oh man, I need to take out the walls. Castle walls. Yeah. So I'm going to trebuchet the walls. 6 shots from that should do it, and then we can run through it. Also, there's boiling oil. I might just do that to show you what it's like. So you have boiling oil already in this game. So I'm going to send archers to see what they can do to the gatehouse. Also, there's a well here, and I can fire at that, which is interesting. Gonna stretch out my foot knights. No, I'm gonna get back from the walls. Get back from the walls, stretch out. Gonna make long lines. Get ready for this. Yep, see that? It's just not worth it. I think we've already lost like 5 guys to this, or 10 guys. It's quite a lot. Even archers are valuable. 47%. What is killing us? I think these arrows are just coming from the walls again. Down to 33 now. 47% damage. Gotta just fire everything at these walls. No wait. Keep firing with... yeah. So we've got a trebuchet and a catapult firing at this wall. Other ones firing at the arrow tower. And then we can just run through, because all they have is some spears. Fire at wells on. Some archers can fire up. Already have 1 kill there. 2 units of archers, 2 units of spears, and a cavalry unit. And I've kept most of my chivalric foot knights alive. But I'm taking a lot of damage, like, under fire non-stop. I'm constantly taking fire. Gotta get back now. Close ranks. Go right to the back. To position for the charge. Got to lead with my foot knights. Take on infantry. Meanwhile, send spears to deal with the cavalry on the flanks. And the archers. Yeah, gotta just take this fight. Here we go. Yep, so we're taking a lot of casualties to this, my god. So sieges in this game we're punishing. And we're taking targets well, I think, which is good. Might want to send my foot knights up the hill. Nah, I don't have a choice. Gotta commit to the melee. Send spears into the cavalry. Yeah, and now we just rely on our chivalric foot knights to carry us through. Birds. See that? See the birds flying around? Still got 2 units of archers as well. They're sitting back, being smart. They have reserves, they have a lot. But I don't think we're taking fire anymore from the walls, are we? 21 archers still. Gonna fast forward this. Still got this unit. And we're breaking through here. Gonna send Chivalric Knights all the way through. 26. Yeah, they're getting all the way through. And then over here, yeah, they've won as well. And that's it. Should mop them up. Oh man. The walls are shooting at me again. Somewhere. These? Yeah, I get murdered by the fucking walls. And that's it. Very good indeed. You're now ready to command mighty armies and wage total war. And that's it. That's the tutorial for Medieval 1. And believe it or not, there is one modern Total War game that does have a tutorial. Let's take a look at it and see how it compares to this one. Because this was a quite thorough tutorial, and this was the first attempt Total War had at refining on the whole formula. So they surely had learned what it is about their games that they want to encourage players to do, and how they want them to play, and communicated it in that tutorial. So let's compare it to how modern Total War does the exact same thing. When was the last time a Total War game had a dedicated tutorial before this? Look, basic tutorial battle, advanced tutorial battle, so we have 2 battles we can do. Can you imagine? And this is probably one of the most poignant observations in this video that I'm making here, but can you imagine if Rome 2 had a tutorial, and in the tutorial it said units on the high ground have an advantage, and then you actually play the tutorial and you lose every time because the advantage is reversed? Can you imagine what that would be like if people can never even get past the tutorial because they so fucked up and botched the game that it's impossible to win a fight where you have all the tactical advantages? Just imagine that. It makes it so obvious why they didn't even have a tutorial. It's because they didn't have anything. And it was only after, what, 5 patches that they fixed that? Or 4 patches? So if a game has a tutorial, a Total War game has a tutorial, you should be reassured. Because at the very least the game runs well enough that they can instruct you on how to play it properly. So we're going to see how Troy works, because this of course is a bit of a strange game. All of these modern Total War games are. This was their first historical, in fucking air quotes, game that had single entity heroes that ran around. So it has to introduce that to you. It has to allow you to get to grips with it, so let's see how it does it. Homer, and is that Zeus? A harp. Olympus. Doves, yeah. Alright, let's go. Oh, what a leap forward in terms of the graphics. Look at that, you have the lens flare, you have everything.
Hearken to the tale of Nestor, son of King Neleus of Pylos. This young prince boldly deprived the duplicitous Eleans of their ill-gotten cattle. As he travels to Pylos, young Nestor is attacked by the Eleans. He must repel them and return safely to his father with his prize.
Yeah, the game presents well. Like, you have Homer with an authentic sounding voice. You have all of these sweeping panoramas and everything. It's just a shame the game plays like shit, which is the one thing that matters.
Each army is commanded by a hero of magnificent strength and resilience, capable of powerful feats in battle. Ensure your hero stays close to the warriors they lead. Should your hero fall in battle, their troops will likely rout.
It's given me the shitty default keybinds because I'm doing the tutorial, I think. So I can't even play the tutorial in my custom keybinds. Let's see. Come on, let me use my fucking keys. Nah, I can't. It's giving me the fucking shitty keys. Let me make sure of this. Get out of the way. I want to scroll down. Get out of the fucking way. Oh my god. How can there just be so many problems? Oh my god, I've got to fucking...
Standing firm!
I've got to do this.
Heard and understood.
And then wait until there's a lull so I can press escape and not have this obstruct me.
An army is comprised of
Oh
warriors
man, it
grouped
never
into
ends.
units under a hero's command. The warriors in a unit will march, fight, flee, or die together.
What a tutorial, man. I can't even fucking... Oh wait, nah, it's still blocking me. I can't drag the window. Oh my god. You're gonna have to just scroll down like this. I'm looking for camera movement, universal. Scroll forward, scroll backwards. Nah, that's not my keys. Nah, I can't use my keys, man. I don't know if my controls have just been deleted and replaced with defaults or what. Yeah, I'm already annoyed at this. This tutorial is just fucking me up. I need to make sure of this. Skip battle. Let's see if when I do a quick battle, it's like this. Quick battle. What the fuck? No, I don't want to do multiplayer. Multiplayer sucks. Battles, custom battle. Let's see if I've got proper controls here. Why the hell would a game force you onto default controls for tutorial? Oh Jesus, have my controls been fucking wiped? What the fuck? And then apply. I don't have control. It's wiped all my keybinds. Jesus Christ. They patched the game and wiped all my keybinds. Alright, fuck it. We're just gonna have to do the tutorial like this on shitty keybinds. Okay. Skip this. I want to see what it said here though.
Each army is commanded by a hero of magnificent strength and resilience, capable of powerful feats in battle. Ensure your hero stays close to the warriors they lead. Should your hero fall in battle, their troops will likely rout. Here we go!
Selecting them.
No question!
Alright, and let's see what it says.
An army is comprised of warriors grouped into units under a hero's command. The warriors in a unit will march, fight, flee, or die together. Lethal at range, hungry for glory.
Let's select them all.
Ready to defend. It is time for the army from Pylos to move forward, with Nestor marching beside his men, instilling bravery in their hearts.
But they're gonna just make a blob.
Happy to.
No way they're not. But I can't press space to preview them to see what they're doing. Looks like they're not making a blob, they're holding formation for some reason. It's really thunderous, the footsteps. They sound way more numerous than they are. It's like 300 or something.
A clear view of the battlefield is vital to victory. A skilled commander must be aware of the location of his forces, as well as areas where the enemy might be concealed. These brave warriors hail from the sandy city of Pylos. Today they will prove their mettle in their prince's cause.
The weapon of a unit determines its role in battle. In this case, the clubmen will fight in melee while the slingers attack from range. Alright. Then over here.
Here stands Nestor, son of Neleus. He is young, but has courage beyond his years, and will lead his Pylian men to victory.
Is that it? Haven't you said that already? No, I've got it.
The Eleans will undoubtedly come from this location. Nestor and his men must march out and prepare to meet them in bloody battle.
Press S to continue every time.
It is time for the army from Pylos to move forward, with Nestor marching beside his men, instilling bravery in their hearts.
Very repetitive, my god. I don't think I did the tutorial first time around. It's taken a while to do this basic shit.
See how the cowardly Eleans have mustered their courage and try to avenge Nestor's audacity. Strike them, now!
And everything attacks. So I told one unit to attack and they all attack. So we're just making a blob here. It's just weird. This is a weird tutorial. It's not really explaining much, you're mostly just watching.
Reinforcements arrive to support your army. Together, you can vanquish the foe. Chariots are mighty engines of war that can unleash devastating charges, grinding the foe under their wheels. Ensure you keep them moving to avoid being pinned down by spearmen or missile troops.
Be aware chariots are extremely slow in forests.
Chariots to the fore! Chariots moving out!
Also, we're going to just be hitting the back of a blob, which I think is not ideal for chariots, because chariots are supposed to be going through thin formations in the open and not just running to a standstill in a blob. It's not really teaching you how to use chariots well, this. But this is the hammer and anvil. So we've made a target for hammer and anvil, and now we get to get the perfect rear charge. So it's achieving that much, this tutorial, but it's not really explaining what we're doing here. Like, you're meant to just understand this already, but the whole point of a tutorial is to show you what you're doing. Hasn't explained the importance of a rear charge yet. Meant to just see it and know. Can't see how many kills I'm getting or anything. It's really weird for a tutorial.
Crushed by the onslaught of blameless Nestor and his men, the Eleans flee the battlefield in shame. Their vengeance must wait for another day.
Alright, so that's the first tutorial, which is just click and move, click and attack, and rear charge with chariots. So far so good, but I think this was done better in Medieval 1 anyway. We'll see how the next one goes. So that's the basic battle tutorial. Advanced battle tutorial. Definitely looks like Greece.
Hearken now to another tale of Nestor of Pylos. King Neleus, wishing to keep his son from the perils of war, took away Nestor's horses, leaving him without mounts for his men. Undeterred, Nestor set out on foot to find the accursed Eleans. Believing the enemy to be concealed, he led his men to a forested area.
Terrain. And we're all dismounted, is that what he implied? It's taking a while. But at least we get to see the clouds going over the battlefield, that kind of thing.
Your warriors stand ready to serve. They only await your orders. Some skilled warriors can earn their glory outside of Nestor's main army. Their skill and stealth let them carry out swift strikes and daring ambushes.
Ambushes, advanced deployment, vanguard deployment they call it in this, I think.
Order the most cunning of Nestor's men to take up their positions and surprise the Eleans.
Deploy your javelin unit to the marker.
Use the forest to hide your troops. Some warriors may remain undetected in even the most minimal cover.
In the
at
open.
least until the enemy draws near.
The fuck? We're not even in the forest, we're in the only bit that's not forested.
A wise battle commander uses the landscape to their advantage. Remember these simple rules. Take the higher ground, hide in forests ready to surprise your enemies, and look for chances to attack from the flank or rear.
Take the high ground. Don't really have any high ground here. Chances to flank and rear, we'll see. Select all.
An army can be ordered to move as one. Such tight but cumbersome formations become less useful once battle commences. A unit can be ordered to stand their ground rather than give chase to the enemy. By acting thus, your warriors maintain a firm battle line. Your warriors will now show the restraint and discipline that will pave the way to victory.
Guard mode. So this game had guard
All
mode.
necessary preparations have been made. Now, in Ares' name, let battle commence.
Not really any preparation. We have a fucking unit of javelins that we put in the open, not even in the trees, and we grouped and guard moded everything else. Spearmen and light swordsmen and bows. Can't move anything. Okay, let's see how this goes.
The men of Pylos must march onwards, carrying death on the tips of their spears. Those in your command.
Select our units. Fuck's sake. Again.
No question. Onwards, brave Nestor.
Oh, man.
Onwards, God-cherished men of Pylos.
Yeah, all I can do is wait. I can't do any finesse. Can't do anything. Just waiting.
Your javelins are perfectly placed. Launch a strike on the exposed flanks of the Elean army.
With one unit.
Good to go.
Alright, now I can do orders how I want to. Shielded, so I don't want to target them.
Your warriors have spotted hidden foes.
They have their own bows, which sucks. Spearmen are going to hold the line while swords flank. While we're doing that.
Seek out enemy units who have left their
Shielded
flank
javelins.
or rear undefended. Attacking from the foe has sighted your hidden unit. Your warriors
Chargers,
shower death
yep.
and despair upon the foe with their javelins. Keep up this attack and watch your enemies flee for their lives.
Don't know, it's just one unit.
Like all heroes,
Is that good?
Nestor has powerful abilities at his disposal.
Oh, this crap.
For example, he can instill his faith in Asclepius the healer into his men. With such divine inspiration,
Heal
they can
units.
disregard any non-fatal wounds.
Alright, let's do it then. Let's do it. This sucks.
Fighting and slaying enemies fuels the rage of
no,
heroes.
stay there, fuck.
Their rage drives them to achieve feats mere mortals can only dream of.
Yeah, this is a mess. We're playing in slow motion as well. It's making it easy on us. Just a clusterfuck. Got to heal my...
Victory beckons! Nestor must defeat the Eleans to claim the glory he is owed.
Got to spread out here, I think. So it's just turning into a standard battle. They're gonna rout. It's not really teaching us how to do much. You have to just figure it all out for yourself, I think. It's not really a tutorial. It's more like throwing you into a clusterfuck and then you have to fight your way out of it. Which I'm always going to do pretty well, because I know how to play Total War. But if I was new to the game, I think I would lose this, wouldn't I? Like, what's the balance of power? Unless it's scripted that you win this, I would probably lose it. And I've got guard mode on for all these, which is bad. Spears can have guard mode on, but everything else I don't want it. Actually, we just killed chargers here, so yeah, we're on easy difficulty or something, so we're gonna win all our matchups. Maybe.
Victory is close enough.
So it's misleading, this. And it hasn't really explained anything. There was no terrain that we could really use. We weren't even really using being hidden because we were standing in the open.
Crushed by the onslaught
Bit of a weird tutorial, man.
And his men, the Eleans flee the battlefield in shame. Their vengeance must wait for another day.
It's a bit of a waste of an opportunity of a tutorial, this. At least they did it. But it doesn't really teach you anything. You're only... In the first one, it's just click and move, click and attack, and then rear charge with chariots out of nowhere without explaining, or it doesn't even put it into context. And then in this one, like, you're already going up to chariots in the tutorial, and then in this one, you have no cavalry or whatever would be the equivalent, no chariots. You've just got two kinds of units. This fight was just, why are we fighting a full scale? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 12 units of infantry, only 2 types. 6 units duplicated for massive blobbing. And then we have...
One of your units has no more ammunition.
A really small skirmishing force, and we only really deploy one of it properly because these two are allowed to vanguard deploy, but we don't get to because we're not allowed. It seems like they did a lot, but I don't know how they would because the way we used them was strange. Yeah, it was a weird tutorial. And it really doesn't show you the advantage of height. It doesn't tell you anything about morale, fatigue. There's just nothing there about that. I don't remember hearing anything about morale or tiring units out or having to watch your fatigue. It's just a really... That's what the tutorial does. It's just point and click, point and attack. Chariots are really strong. And then here's a massive clusterfuck for you to just click fest your way through. And you might have picked up on how to hide units and how to ambush. Just a weird tutorial. Can pursue and cut down fleeing units to increase your own unit's experience. Yep, and I think that's it. And then that's all you get to go on. You're just thrust into the rest of the game. It's really strange. Needless to say, Medieval 1 had an actual tutorial. It's strange that they would presumably want to be more accessible and have mainstream appeal and be able to have casual players get into the game, but the tutorial is just so inferior to what we had with what you would hope would be a much simpler game 2 decades ago. And the fact that there's just no explanation of tactics like morale, fatigue, terrain, any of these tactical elements, aspects of the game, all these systems, just skips over it like it's not there and just throws you into a full fight and you have to just guess. Yeah, It just shows where the emphasis has gone. And if you needed it confirmed, like I said, fucking 8 years ago, Rome 2 didn't even have the height advantage right. Actually had it reversed for like, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months, until they fixed it with a patch. So yeah, they've just lost their way completely. And when you look at these tutorials and compare them, it might offer some insight into how things have gone. It's interesting for me, hopefully it's interesting for you as well. And with that, I'm done. Thanks for watching. For people that wish to support my work, I have a Patreon page. Special thanks to Matteo Olivetti, Nerdington, The Roadie 451, Halcyon, and Robert Sparks.